Feeling bored, unmotivated, aimless, and in need of direction? Well, have I got just the thing for you. Fear. That's right. This will give you a fire in your gut and a target to aim at. And what are we afraid of today? Immigrants. Not this again. I'm George Hobbs, and all my life they've been trying to get me to be afraid of immigrants. I want to know why. Let's start with a few facts. Birds fly, fish swim, and people migrate. It's in our nature, always has been. Fear of immigrants is so old that the Bible tells us to treat the stranger who lives among us the same as those born among us. And it's so current that one of our presidential candidates is spreading lies about them eating dogs and saying he'll round them all up and get rid of them. Now, I started doing these stick figure drawings in 2015 when the same man said he'd build a wall to keep them all out. I've been hearing this kind of nonsense since I was a kid, and I knew it was wrong. So that's where we have to start, with ourselves. For what is politics but how we treat other people? This is my interpretation of Yin and Yang, the forces that battle for control of your life. Psychologists call it attraction and aversion. Let's call them love and fear. Both can motivate you to do almost anything. And they're what companies and politicians appeal to when they want you to buy what they're selling. Ideally, you want to keep these forces in balance, but that's hard when politicians are leaning on fear. Almost everything you see is sponsored by someone. I've been watching TV and studying advertising all my life, as these drawings from my childhood show. I watched so much TV growing up that my father would introduce my brother and me, saying, "These are my boys. Tommy plays football and George plays the TV." I even got a Bachelor of Science in advertising. Look, Mom, I'm finally using my degree. One thing I learned is, if they're scaring you, they're selling something. Fear sells because it works, and it's easy. When you think about how much it costs to put on a football game and bring that into your home free of charge, well, there must be a lot of value in getting your attention and getting you to buy whatever they're selling. So how do you do that? Well, love and fear. Here I have two beautiful, delicious Honeycrisp apples. You will love this one. It is, people write poems about these things. They're so delicious. Some people say Eve tempted Adam with it. Now this one, I'll eat one a day and it'll keep the doctor away. Some people don't like apples, but to avoid a doctor, okay, why not? In political ads where you're selling a person instead of a product, fear-based messages are twice as effective. But in this case, we're not talking about if apples or oranges are better for you. This is people against people. When fear is weaponized to divide us, things stop being funny. Between 1845 and 1854, 2.9 million people immigrated into the country. Suddenly, more than half the residents of New York City were born abroad, and Irish immigrants comprised 70% of the charity recipients. Around that time, the country's first anti-immigrant political party was formed, the Know Nothing Party. Party members supported deportation of foreign beggars and criminals, a 21-year naturalization period for immigrants, mandatory Bible reading in schools, and the elimination of all Catholics from public office. 100 of their members were elected to Congress, along with 8 governors and thousands of local politicians. And that's when we only had 31 states. In 1871, a journalist blamed Irish immigrant Catherine O'Leary and her cow for the Chicago fire. 22 years later, he admitted that he made the whole thing up. In 1912, the House Committee on Immigration debated over whether Italians could be considered full-blooded Caucasians, and immigrants coming from Southern and Eastern Europe were considered biologically and culturally less intelligent. And in the 1950s, Eisenhower tried to do the same thing Republicans are promising today: mass deportations. That's right, the guy who said he'd build a wall 8 years ago, which he didn't, now has a plan that is exceeded in expense only by its cruelty. He's been demonizing immigrants since that speech in 2015, and it's only gotten worse. The governor of Ohio pleaded with him and his running mate to stop lying about immigrants eating dogs and cats, as local leaders said that these people are an asset to the community. And just weeks ago, support to hurricane-stricken states in the South was hampered by lies about FEMA money going to immigrants. And this illustrates the problem with fear. Consume too much and it will destroy the best parts of you. It occurred to me that my previous video started around the same time in history, during the Industrial Revolution. The world was in upheaval then, much like it is now in the information age. Everyone wants your attention. Fear equals anger, equals clicks, equals money. And when you live in a world where lies are more valuable than the truth and anger is more valuable than kindness, well, we need to find a way out. We need to adapt to this situation. How do we do that? Well, you need to fact check everything you see. You need to watch out for people who are trying to blame vulnerable people for your problems. Talk to immigrants, whoever they're trying to get you to be afraid of. They're probably a lot like you. Someone who just wants a better life for themselves and their family. And that's how we built a great country, by having people who are willing to give up everything in pursuit of a better life. Walls can't stop people like that. And that's the power of a nation of immigrants. Many of the images in this video are from my book, Stick Figure Wisdom, The Big Picture. It's available wherever you buy books, and I'll put a link in the description where you can find it and also where you can get a free digital copy. Please like and subscribe, and remember, they sell fear because it's cheap. But if we want a nation that thrives, we have to invest in courage. I'm George Hobbs. Thanks for watching.